There's another name in the Hamblin tier, but I think he's got a much better chance of being an NHLer, and that's Noah Philp. One, the physical tools with this guy. I watched him for a couple of years at the University of Alberta. 6'3", 200 pounds, got that size, knows how to play center, moves well for a big guy. And last year in what was basically his first pro season, what was his first pro season, he got 3 games the year before. 19 goals in 70 games. For a guy who was learning the game a little bit, from everything I read and the people I talked to, he just kept getting better as the year got on. I think he's a very smart hockey player. That's a guy who, that size, he shoots right. Whenever we look at offseason targets, do we not? We keep looking at guys and going, oh shit, they shoot left. Like, we need right shots on this team. I think Noah Philp is a piece who I would call him up before I call up Hamblin next year. If there's also we can look at the way the centers are rolling out right now. I think Nuge, we've decided, is a winger. McDavid, Draisaitl, Ryan McLeod. Why can't Noah Philp be your 4C next year?
I mean, I'm kind of with you as well. And I can't remember. Someone opened our eyes to this a little bit ago, too. Maybe it was Bruce. He's really had a great
Bruce
season.
Or Original Posar.
Yeah,
I think they're both kind of high on him, though.
Yeah. But to come in your first pro season and score 19 goals, and that's pretty good. I mean, yeah, like, he seems to be taking strides quicker than some other players in the organization are, like James Hamlin being one of them. Like, I think outside of the top guys on the Oilers system, Noah Philp is the first guy who I think could make the team out of training camp. Especially, like you said, he's got a lot of stuff going well for him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a guy that kind of starts in Bakersfield and then eventually makes the Oilers team later on. Because Ryan McLeod did that.
Yeah.
Costin did that too. Like,
it's hard to make a team out of camp.
100%. And sometimes you just need to get your legs underneath you and get it going. But I think this will be a guy who has a very impressive training camp and preseason. And then everyone's, oh, who's this kid? And then all of a sudden, eventually something happens here and he gets called up and then he just forces his way into the team and stays there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the idea of, or I think Philp could be a factor next year. Again, he's a piece. He doesn't come with that first-round pedigree, right? He's an undrafted player coming out of U Sports. That's a guy who, again, you're okay at age 24. If he comes up and comes in and out of the lineup a little bit, he's happy to be getting an NHL paycheck. You're happy to kind of give him that taste and really see what you have in the guy. I think there is a chance both or one of Philp or Lavoie ends up playing like 30 games here next year. Or 40 games next year. One of them could get half a season. I don't think it's insane to bank on one of those two being an NHLer for the bulk of the year.
Philp or Lavoie?
Yeah, one of the two.
I think both.
I mean, you could. Yeah. I don't know if you necessarily want to go into your offseason and be like, okay, we've signed these players. Our ideal roster has both Philp and Lavoie on it, but guys are going to get banged up.
Yeah.
There's always going to be things like that throughout the year. I think having them both is maybe they're your 12th and 13th forward or your 13th, 14th forwards even, right? Yeah. Like in whatever way, I think one of them could be here for the bulk of the season and the other one should absolutely get games.
I think just it's a good time for these young players because the Oilers are in such cap trouble in a sense that they need these guys to kind of come in and play. I'm also looking at his hockey DB here. He played 2 games for the Stockton Heat one year.
And then he went back.
Interesting. So I went to a professional tryout, I guess.
Something like that, yeah. Or an amateur tryout is what it would have been, right? You go on an ATO. Amateur. And there's a comment in here, though, from Ryan, who says, we need experience right now. Wouldn't put a rookie with low draft pedigree in the lineup. Your draft pedigree more or less goes out the window the second you're drafted.
Essentially, yes.
Right? And I know I'm maybe talking a little bit out of both sides of my mouth because I said, like, Bourgault, you don't want him sitting in the press box. But that is more of like an age thing than a draft pedigree thing.
Yeah.
And like a long-term, this guy has potential. The best way for him to get there is by playing a ton of games in Bakersfield, not being a healthy scratch. I don't care that Noah Philp's undrafted. I don't care that Ralph Lavoie is a second rounder. If they were both first rounders at this age, I'd be saying the same thing. If they're good enough, you play them. And you could talk about how we need experience right now. You have experience in this lineup. The top part of your lineup is very, very experienced. Those are all guys who, I know it might sound weird to say, have been in the NHL for close to a decade. We're going into what, year 9 of McDavid, year 10 or 11 of Draisaitl? Like, the Oilers' core isn't young anymore. Yeah. Look at the blue line. Ekholm, vet. Nurse, been almost a decade. Kulak, vet. Ceci, vet. Bouchard, Desharnais are your 2 young pieces there. But this is an experienced roster. If you bring back a Janmark, Derek Ryan, like all these other pieces, you need to have cost-effective homegrown talent to win in today's NHL.